Photo News, issue number 4. The Best of Caroline Bay, 2005 to 2011, by Ron E. Bishop. Caroline Bay in Timaru is well known for its summer carnival, but there's a lot more to Caroline Bay, as we will show you in the pages of this book. Come with me for a walk with my camera while I show you around Caroline Bay. Hydro Grand Hotel in Bay Hill Piazza. Our journey begins on the Bay Hill in front of the historic Hydro Grand Hotel. This magnificent old hotel was built in 1912 and at that time provided a high-class accommodation for weary travellers. In 2003 it was sold to a group of local businessmen who later purchased other properties surrounding it, and their aim now is to demolish the historic hotel to make way for a new hotel and apartments. The hotel has some protection from demolition under the New Zealand Historic Places Trust. The Hydro Grand lost its gables in a storm in 1975 and they were never replaced. It stood alongside a private hotel called the Seaview Hotel, which was burnt down in the 1980s. Today the Hydro Grand Hotel patiently awaits demolition by its owners. In September 1997, the Timaru Mayor, Nan Raymond, officially opened the new piazza on the Bay Hill. It was built in front of the Hydro Grand Hotel in anticipation that development would take place on the Bay Hill, but up until now that has never happened. The piazza was a great asset to the city because its fantastic viewing platform down to the bay below. The piazza steps also lead down to a beautiful rose garden, and for the less agile there is a lift with easy wheelchair access. Enjoy a beautiful view of the mountains and the sea. Piazza fountain and waterfall. An automatic lift. Viewing platform that keeps steps going down to the rose garden. Piazza staircase. Piazza waterfall. Seat donated by Tom and Jane Coughlin. Bay Hill Piazza Timaru is opened by His Worship the Mayor, Mr. Nan Raymond, in September. Can't read it, just a minute. I'll read that again. The Bay Hill Piazza Timaru was opened by His Worship the Mayor, Mr. Nan Raymond, in September 1997, I think. We'll have to go to the video to find that out, because I've done a video on the Rose Garden. Back to the pages of Photo News. The Stairway to Romance on Caroline Bay. Trevor Griffith's Rose Garden, and here's some of the roses. The Trevor Griffith's Rose Garden. This garden was established by the Timaru Beautifying Society to honour renowned South Canterbury rose grower, world authority on old roses and author Trevor Griffiths. Nan Raymond, President of the Timaru Beautifying Society 1992 to 2002, envisaged the original concept, believing that the lifelong work of Trevor Griffiths and the love of old roses should be celebrated in this way. Christchurch architect Sir Miles Warren designed the garden, and Trevor's son and daughter-in-law Bevan and Liz Griffiths planted all the 200 roses. For 2 years they had prepared and nurtured 600 rose cuttings donated by Trevor Griffiths from his own collection. Modern specimens bred by English rosarian David Austin grow with early varieties. Generous support from the local community has contributed to the completion of this garden, which has been gifted to the Timaru Beautifying Society by the Timaru Beautifying Society to the citizens of the district for all to enjoy. And here is a photograph of Nan Raymond and Trevor Griffiths. This garden was built by the people of Timaru, and there are far too many to mention in this book. These are some of the rose contributors, the arbours and rose beds. Opened on the 10th of December 2001 by Dame Sylvia Cartwright. Seat donated by E.G. and D.M. Kerr Charitable Trust. A photo of Nan Raymond, Dame Sylvia Cartwright, Mayor Win Raymond, Trevor Griffiths, Dixie Griffiths admire the rose garden. And there are the photographs. The planting directory will guide you through the garden. Winners display at a National Rose Show held on Caroline Bay in Timaru. The National Rose Society Incorporated. The Caroline Bay Hall is a popular venue for many flower shows. This is a CD slideshow of the National Rose Society Incorporated Photo News Caroline Bay Hall in Timaru in that year. Unfortunately, I can't find the front cover to this CD, but this is the Etheridge Gardens and the Rose Society on the CD here, which is a slideshow because I took still photos. Today is Friday, 27th December 2013, and I'm reading the death notices. Nan Raymond died peacefully on Boxing Day, December the 26th, 2013, at Strathallan Life Care, Timaru, aged 77 years. Very much loved wife of Win Raymond, adored and cherished mother and mother-in-law of Kate and Horst Ellison, to Joe Raymond and Mark Leishman and Richard and Anna Raymond. Dearly loved and respected by her grandchildren, Nico, Sebastian and Luke, Elson, Paddy, Molly and Rosie Leishman, Georgie, Tom and Jono Raymond. Nan's funeral will be held at St John's Anglican Church, Waioti, on Monday, the Waioti Road, Timaru, on Monday the 30th of December at 2 p.m. Messages to 333 Community Road, RD4, Timaru. Good afternoon, folks. Ron Bishop from Timaru, New Zealand. I was shocked when I read that death notice this morning of Nan Raymond. I couldn't believe it. I knew Nan had been ill. I was told she had dementia and she was in permanent care. And but I didn't know how sick she was. But she must have been sicker than I thought. And when I found out that she died, I felt real terrible. I'd just finished videoing Nan's garden. I call it Nan's garden because it really was. It's a rose garden in Timaru. It's the Trevor Griffiths Rose Garden. And I just done a video on it with her husband, Win Raymond. We went round the garden and he told me how it came about. I videoed it with a telephone, a Samsung Galaxy 3 telephone, which is not the best instrument to video something in high winds, and there was a lot of winds. Win Raymond and the wind we had to compete with. But Win told the story, and I wanted to give a copy of the story on video, DVD, to Nan. So I went. I sent an email to Win, and I must have upset him because I said something about. I asked him to give me a hand to promote Timaru, but he said he had a wife that was ill, and it was selfish of me to ask him to do any work, you see. So, and he rang me and said he didn't want to have anything more to do with me, and it was a bit sad. But never mind, these things happen, you know. And so I felt pretty small this morning. I felt pretty awful, really, when I read the notice that Nan Raymond had actually died. You see, I'd just been to the trying to give away one of these DVDs. Just a minute. There it is. This is the DVD. Nan Raymond's birthday was on Friday the 20th of December, and I wanted to give her one of these for her birthday, but I couldn't because I couldn't get permission from the family to give it to her, and I couldn't get permission from the hospital where she was, the rest home where she was. I asked them if they would make a contribution to give it to Nan, but they wouldn't do so. So I was pretty shocked when I read that she died. I want to take this opportunity this morning to tell you about when I first met Nan Raymond. I first met her in her garden. Her and Wynne, her husband Wynne, had an open day for their garden. They had a wonderful garden at 10 Seeley Street in Timaru, and it was called Etheridge Gardens. And I was taking a lot of photos at the time to promote Timaru. So when I saw it advertised in the paper, I went into the garden and said to Wynne, "Do you mind if I take some photos of the garden?" He said, "That's all right, as long as you pay your $5. It was $5 a donation. So I paid my $5 and went around the garden taking photos, and Nan came up to me, and I'd never met Nan Raymond before, and she came up to me and she said, "Oh, it's good that you're taking some photos. Would you take photos of this and that?" And she guided me around the garden and told me a bit about the garden and what to take photos of. And then she said, "I'd like you to come inside and take some photos inside the house." So she invited me inside, and I took photos of the whole of the house, the furniture, the photographs on the walls, everything that Nan treasured, I took a photo of. And then she rang me up and said, "Well, can I have a look at those photos?" And I took them round, and we went through the photographs, and we culled out all the worst ones, and she left, and we just kept the ones that she liked. And I put these together on a slideshow. Now, I had no way of marketing this, no way of making any money out of this at all, because I was just taking the photos and putting them on a DVD. So I put them on this CD. Now there is somewhere in my collection, there is a photograph of Wynne and Nan holding hands on the front cover of this CD. She actually did have a copy, because I sold her a copy, right, of the CD. There are only 2 of these, or 3 of these, this one here, and Wynne and Nan had a copy, and a lady in Glenity bought another one off me. So there's only 3 in circulation of Nan Raymond's Etheridge Gardens. This needs some music on it. It needs to be tidied up. It needs a good photo. There's a lot of money to be spent to tidy all this stuff up, because it's history. It's good history, and it should be recorded as part of Timaru's history. Now, when I I read in the paper after I videoed the Etheridge Gardens that Wynne and Nan Raymond had sold their house for over $1 million to the New World supermarket. And I thought, holy Moses, I've taken all these photographs. Was that the reason? Because they wanted to preserve what was going to be pulled down. And I was a bit upset. And I rang Wynne Raymond and told him I wasn't too happy. And anyway, now that Nan has died, I have to start swallowing my words here, because let's look at the positive of what's come out of this. Yes, it was a shame to see the Etheridge Gardens be pulled down and replaced with a supermarket. But if we think about it, every time we go into the New World supermarket at Highfield, there is a flower section. And you can imagine that every time you go in there to buy some flowers, you can think of Nan Raymond, because that's where her garden was. The New World supermarket is right bang where the Etheridge Gardens was, where Nan Raymond's garden was. And every time you go into the New World, you can think of Nan Raymond. Just a minute. Every time you go to Timaru and go down to the Trevor Griffith's Rose Garden, you can also think of Nan Raymond, because without Nan Raymond, that garden would not be there. So we have to think of the positives. We have to think of the positive that at the time I was upset about having to photograph the Etheridge Gardens, and only to find out it had been sold to a supermarket, but we have to look at the positives. We can't change the past. Whatever's happened in the past we can't change. We can only change our attitude towards what it's like now. And it's very sad that Nan is gone. And I express my sincere sympathies to Win and his family. I don't know all of them personally. But I just wish you all well, and just remember that Nan was a lovely person. The short time that I knew her, we got on really well, and we worked together to get those photographs there, and they'll always be there. We'll always have them. There's a record. There's a remembrance to Nan Raymond. What a lovely lady. And she was the chairman of the Beautifying Society, and she made a big difference, her and her husband Win, to the beautification of the Timaru city. So, Win and family, my sympathies go out to you. Okay, see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.